I have to be honest with you, I'm quite amazed. I mean, for nearly a year now, I've been making the exact same point. But most people don't seem to understand. Most people still think that in order to realize non-dual wisdom, this most profound of dharmas, what we call the Mahamudra, then all you need to do is hear a few words. To encounter a new bit of information that erstwhile you have not been party to. To acquire some new knowledge, and on the basis of that, can come to resolve the timeless paradox of existence. I think it's almost a year ago that I sat under this very tree and discussed how it is that one comes to realize non-dual wisdom. Now, it's not surprising that those who are new to the spiritual path, who are looking for answers to their questions about reality, who seek like-minded teachers, and these like-minded teachers principally have to have one quality, and that quality is that they mustn't challenge the views of their students. That if they go to a spiritual convention, partake of a one-week retreat with a famous teacher like Rupert Spira or Eckhart Tolle, then they will come to learn the truth. They will come to gain some new knowledge, and that understanding this new information is itself synonymous with realizing the profound truth. On the spiritual path, one has to come to personal certainty. It's not enough just knowing what Aristotle said, what Descartes said, understanding the basic principles of nihilism and existentialism, and if one can repeat who said what at what time in what place, then one is a scholar. But on the spiritual path, and especially in the Buddha Dharma, then this is what is called dry knowledge. It's not of much use. And in fact, this kind of dry knowledge can itself be an obstacle to the realization of the true nature of reality. Anyway, I'm not surprised that these sort of people think that if they're told something and they understand it, then that's the same as realizing the truth of non-duality. What does surprise me is that those who have made the effort to come to direct experience and understanding of this profound truth through their own personal investigations still believe that if I just tell you how it is, then you will understand it. The truth is, the more profound the view, then the more concise or simple the words seem. And that's because language cannot convey the ultimate. Well, it's true that language cannot convey any truth. For example, if I say fire will burn you, it doesn't make you hot. And young children who have not heard the word fire and have not experienced the pain of being burnt cannot relate to this. No matter how many times you tell them, don't touch that, that's hot, until for the first time they've actually burnt themselves, they gain no direct understanding of the meaning of fire. Well, that having been said, then of course it's going to be even more difficult to express the true nature of reality, the ultimate truth of reality, using linguistic terms. And if you've watched a few of my videos, then you will be clear, as my opinion, that the only way to come to understand this truth, to come to realize non-dual wisdom is to find a teacher, an authentic teacher, a teacher in whom you have unshakable faith. And I've seen the truth for this myself. When I went into retreat, I had no idea who the retreat master was. I had merely heard that Khenpo Labu was the retreat master for Tranghu Gompa. Now immediately, this gave me some faith in Khenpo Labu. And that's because I already had some level of faith in Tranghu Rinpoche. I saw him to be both learned and accomplished in practice. But what we need is faith that goes beyond mere reputation and association. Now I know in general in the West we don't like the idea of faith. We don't like faith and we don't like devotion, because we only identify faith with blind faith, and not faith that arises out of understanding. In the Torch of Certainty, the instruction manual for the preliminaries for the Mahamudra teachings, it says that the qualities will only arise on the basis of faith. But there is a caveat, and that is that faith cannot arise without first having contemplated impermanence and death. And there is no way to get access to the understanding of impermanence and death without first having appreciated the precious opportunity that we gain from this human existence. But what you can glean from these words is that the faith that is spoken about in the Buddha Dharma is not blind faith, it's informed faith. Because this faith only arises through prior study and personal experience of the truth of death and impermanence. So I went into retreat. I was naive. I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. And I had some level of faith in Khenpo Labu through association and through his renown. But that's not what I was looking for. The principal motivating factor that made me decide to go into a long-term retreat, and you have to understand that's not an easy decision to make, because in order to do that, you have to be willing to give up your entire life for 4 years. It feels almost impossible to drop all your worldly affairs and go off and practice, to change the focus of your daily life from getting by in the world to solely committing oneself to practice. I was told to go into retreat by Akon Rinpoche. And Akon Rinpoche is someone in whom I do have a lot of faith. And because of that, there is a blessing. And that blessing is not a mystical blessing. It's because I had high regard for Akon Rinpoche that when he told me I should go into retreat, I took it very seriously. And I saw it to be a way to resolve my doubts and my questions about this most sublime path. But I'm straying off the topic. I'm trying to get it into your head how it is one comes to realize non-dual wisdom. And as a new spiritual practitioner and someone with a lot of enthusiasm and belief in this path, then I needed to resolve my doubts. I needed to understand the basis for our confusion and the reason why there are these metaphysical paradoxes. My teacher, by asking a few simple questions, was able to demonstrate that the way I viewed the world was mistaken. And by that, what I came to realize was how this most profound path acts as a method for coming to realize the profound and ultimate truth of reality. It does so by eroding one's own conceptual fallacies and eradicating inner contradictions in one's belief. And I saw this to be extremely significant. It's what I've been looking for my entire life, and especially since I entered the spiritual path. And what surprises me is that others don't see the significance of this truth. And I have met people who outwardly seem to have changed the baseline of their preconceptions of reality, who now see things differently than they did before we began our discussions. The difference is they don't see the significance of this. The profound truth is not something that you can learn. It's not something that you can be informed about. It hasn't got anything to do with logic or knowledge or information. Coming to understand the profound truth requires faith, because without unshakable faith in your teacher, there is absolutely no way one can come to experience a fundamental transformation of one's firmly held beliefs and misconceptions about reality. So the general feeling I get is people think, oh yeah, I was mistaken, that was wrong, I can see that now, but just tell me, what's the next thing? It's not about understanding a philosophical position. It's coming to see things for the way they are. And the problem is, we continually fall back on our assumptions. Throughout our life, we've built up a vast lexicon, a database of information that helps us to navigate the mundane world. We conceptualize our experience. And the way we act, it's quite obvious that we're not able to differentiate between the way we conceptualize about reality and the actual visceral experience of reality itself. And so, it's the job of the teacher to point out our mistakes. And once we've recognized that mistake, what we need to do is we need to gain certainty about the way things are, the actual way that phenomena abide. And this involves a lot of effort on our own part. Almost every teacher out there, in the flesh or on the internet, is trying to tell you how things are. But that knowledge doesn't help you in any way. What you need to do is gain personal experience. And on the basis of that personal experience, then eventually you can develop what's called realization. And it is on the basis of realization that one attains liberation from the mundane world. And it is my sincere wish that you should make swift progress on this most sublime spiritual path and eventually achieve final awakening and liberation from suffering in the mundane world. And in order to help you in that goal, then I'm quite willing to dedicate my time and my effort. But unless you bear in mind what I say, then the words will be of no use to you. So think about things well. Don't just rely on the statements of others. And also be diligent and apply yourself to practice. As long as you are applying yourself, then there will always be teachers to whom you can refer when you have doubts. And it is possible, if you have faith in that teacher, and the teacher themselves is learned, but also has compassion, then they may help you to resolve your doubts, to come to understand the essential paradox of existence. So until next time, and see you later.